Now, the South African Human Rights Commission in KwaZulu-Natal says it will investigate the recent unrest that led to the deaths of 20 people in Phoenix. The Commissioner for the South African Human Rights Commission, Chris Nissen, joins me now to talk about this and give us more details. Commissioner, good evening, and thank you very much for your time and joining us tonight here on In Focus. What powers does the South African Human Rights Commission have in an investigation of this nature?
Good evening, and good evening to the viewers of Newzroom, and thank you so much for inviting the Human Rights Commission to respond to the challenges and the invitation of the President of the Republic of South Africa to investigate and obviously to look into the matters of social cohesion and racism. Obviously, the Human Rights Commission's mandate is threefold: to promote, protect, and monitor human rights in the Republic of South Africa. And certainly, we are in full agreement with the President that we should be looking into and assessing the situation in terms of racism, in particular with this regard within the Phoenix and in the Greater Durban area, in KwaZulu-Natal area. But certainly, the Human Rights Commission has always been involved in investigating, assessing, and probing violations around racism in this country. And certainly we will adhere to the command of our President.
How are you going to be approaching this investigation? There are concerns, for example, around the process, that it must be fair and it must reflect both the community as well as the outsiders who were attacked as well in this particular process.
Well, I didn't hear your question completely, but what I want to say is that the Human Rights Commission will obviously look into all aspects, particularly with regard to the incident at Phoenix, but beyond that, because you know the KwaZulu-Natal area has got a history of a number of incidences with regard to social cohesion, and obviously also with regard to the issue about racism in the area. But KwaZulu-Natal is not different from the rest of South Africa, and with regard to social cohesion and obviously racism. And as the Human Rights Commission, as we say, we will do a proper assessment, particularly with regard to the current situation that happened within the Greater KwaZulu-Natal, obviously confined mostly to some of the urban areas and then obviously Gauteng. But certainly we are really, as the Commission, very concerned and will do whatever we do, as we always do it, with regard to challenging the violation of human rights, including racism in our country.
Yeah. As far as the violation is concerned, as the South African Human Rights Commission, how do you draw a distinction between the community's rights to protect the community and their property, but also the public then therefore taking the law into their own hands and the violations that come with that?
Obviously, you know, we ideally in this country, we would like the law enforcement agencies, with Metro Police, whether it is South African Police Services, whether it's other agencies, to ensure that people's property and safety is protected. However, with regard to what has happened recently, we cannot condone any vigilantism. However, we understand when people have to protect their rights and their lives and so on. But we call upon, that's why we call upon the law enforcement agencies really to go out of their way and do the utmost to protect everyone, every citizen. Whether you live in a suburb, we live in a township, we live in an informal area, the law is and the law enforcement is there to protect you. However, what we've seen in the last few days is that there are criminal intentions and criminality involved, seeking to destroy and to do mayhem, to loot and so on, which we as the Commission condemn completely. And therefore we say, whilst the communities have got the right to protect themselves, they don't have the right to take the law into their own hands. And therefore we're asking the law enforcement agencies to do whatever they can to protect everyone, particularly those communities under siege and those communities that are threatened by criminals and criminality. However, we do understand but we do not agree with people taking the law into their own hands and become vigilantes, because in vigilantism, there's no justice. Let the law take its course and take those criminals through the criminal justice system and let justice be served on them.
Right. There are people who are saying, Commissioner, for example, that they were blocked from gaining access to mortuaries so they can identify bodies of their deceased loved ones. Would you say that exceeded the bounds of protecting your community and property, and therefore constitutes a violation of human rights?
Look, it's sad. It's very sad to see human life being lost in the line of people wanting to protect their property and other people's life. It's very sad indeed. And it's so sad in this country which we fought for, that we were in the trenches, that we died for, that we were tortured for, went to prison. But it does not really justify taking other people's lives. However, we do understand that people in a position of danger will do everything in their power to protect their families and protect their properties. What we do say, however, is that we cannot allow criminals to drive the kind of the angst of poverty, the angst of people wanting to do something, and exploit that in order to go and destroy other people's property and lives. So we are saying, let the criminal justice take its course, and let the law take its course. People, the law of this country is, the constitution of this country say, people have got the right to life and the right to protection against any form of threat, whether it's to property or to life. It is indeed sad what has happened in the last few days. Therefore, we are asking the law enforcement to let the law take its course. However, we also say that with regard to the Phoenix situation, as the Human Rights Commission, will do a proper assessment, will come in, will assist the community on both sides, whoever has been there and whoever has been involved in, as the Human Rights Commission, will do a proper assessment and they get involved. But however, we do say it's sad that lives are lost and that the law take its course.
Commissioner, I appreciate your time and thank you very much for joining us tonight here on In Focus. That's the Commissioner of the South African Human Rights Commission, Chris Nissen. They will, of course, be digging into the details of what happened there in Phoenix and the matters that are behind the death of the 20 people. His life with us tonight from Genadendal. And apologies for some of the technicalities in that connection.